Have we seen peak mortgage interest rates? Well, if you're to believe recent data, inflation has reached its peak growth. Now, inflation's still a thing in this country, but it's no longer growing as rapidly as it was. Now, that means for mortgage interest rates, then we've likely seen the high end of the mortgage interest rates. And if you follow the trend here, rates have started to creep down a little. Still nowhere near where it was this time last year, but we have seen a downtrend when it comes to mortgage interest rates. So what does this mean for home buyers? Well, it's good news. It means as the interest rates decrease, their purchasing power also increases. Now, how quick will we see interest rates decrease? Well, here's a saying. Is interest rates increase like an elevator. It goes up fast, but when they decrease more like on steps. So it's going to be a slower decrease than it was the increase. But overall, it's still fantastic news for home buyers because they can expect rates to decrease. And if they buy a house now, they'll be able to refinance in the future at an even lower interest rate. And by the way, we've actually have seen and locked interest rates in the 5% as recently as last week. You may have heard the famous book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and Realtor.com have their own spin on it. They just released 7 Habits of Highly Effective Home Buyers. And I thought it'd be really cool to share those with you as it's very helpful for home buyers that want to buy in this market. Successful home buyers, 1, they're persistent. You have to be persistent in this market. Even though that there is higher interest rates, there's still low inventory. So you have to be willing to put the time in order to find the right house. 2, they keep their emotions in check. Buying a house is very emotional, and it can be even more emotional. You've seen dozens of homes, wrote lots of offers, and you didn't get your offer accepted. You got to put those emotions in check. 3, they're open-minded and willing to move. Successful home buyers right now are willing to expand the radius of where they're willing to live. And that's made easier now where more and more home buyers are able to work from home, so the commute is no longer an issue. 4, they're not afraid to ask questions. So even in a competitive situation, they're willing to ask questions to make sure it's the right house for them. 5, they see beyond how the house looks. We all know everybody has different styles and taste. Successful home buyers are willing to look beyond what the current seller's taste might be and be able to envision what it could look like for them. 6, they can draw a firm line between wants and needs. And they're able to follow and focus on the needs, and if they can get the wants, that's just extra cherries on top. And 7, they are flexible and available. Even though that interest rates have increased, it's still harder to find the right house. So when a house hits the market, they have to be willing and able to jump on it and go see it right away.
Why do mortgage brokers have lower rates? What is the reasoning behind this? Why is everyone going to bankers and retail outfits when mortgage broker rates are lower? Well, let me tell you a few reasons why. One is overhead. So all these retail shops have massive overhead. They have empty buildings right now. They have many layers of management. Whereas the brokerages, they're giving you wholesale pricing. They didn't build all this overhead and these layers of management, and so they get to pass that on to you as the consumer. So go find a mortgage broker today and get a lower rate. Okay guys, opportunities. Spring buying rush? Should we wait for it or should we buy now? Well, price cuts. So price cuts in December, 7.1%. Whereas this year already we're seeing 13.6%. So there's an article that we're going to reference that we're going to show you guys where these price cuts, we talked to economists about it. What do they say? What do we think you should do? So after reading it, after looking at the market, I think it's time to go for it. Let's get into these houses before there's never a bad time to buy.